Welcome back to another episode of the Fifth Quarter Podcast. I'm your host, Marcus Jones, the Bluff City Cowboy, coming to you live from Memphis, Tennessee. And tonight we are celebrating another victory Wednesday as the Dallas Cowboys defeated the Seattle Seahawks on Thursday night. And joining me as a familiar face to all you guys, this is the creator and head admin of the DC4L Facebook group, Miss Amanda Foster.
Hey,
Thank
y'all.
you, Amanda.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to be here. I love coming on. It's a pleasure.
All right, I see the views are growing pretty quickly. So as you guys know, make sure you get in the comments. Let us know who you are. Let us know where you're watching. And also, when you see Amanda on the show, you know there are giveaways that are going to happen throughout the show. And the only thing you have to do to be included in the giveaway is leave a comment. So questions, comments, give us your name, follow Lillian Smith's lead, Dallas Cowboys for Life, anything Cowboys related. Get those engagements up in the comments, and we're going to do 2 giveaways tonight. And as we go through the show, Amanda will tell you what those giveaways are. And like I said before, all you got to do is leave some comments. Ray Dean coming in with the questions early. Is Dak in your MVP running? Absolutely.
Absolutely. In fact, I think I think it started as a dark horse.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty much, it is his award to lose at this point. He's playing lights out.
Yeah.
And it's really the QB MVP award.
Right.
It's just the way it is. And he's the best quarterback in the game right now.
If there were any other player I would give it to right now, it would be Tyreek Hill, just because
he's about to hit 2.
Right. He's on pace for that. But
Crazy.
like you said, it's a QB award.
It is.
There have been running backs who've had amazing seasons, 20 plus touchdowns, 2,000 plus yards, weren't even in the running. So I don't see it happening for him.
Yeah, and even, you take a Tyreek Hill, but then you've got CMC too. That team falls apart if he's not there. So, he's the MVP of his team, but like we said, quarterback award, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone, Patrick Mahomes looks lost out there. Poor guy. I feel bad for him.
Yeah, I was going to say this is one of those rare down years for him. So if there's anybody to take that MVP title, it's this year. And it's probably Dak's best chance to do so.
And he's got Aaron Rodgers' stamp of approval too. One former MVP saying this is it. So we'll see.
Yeah. So Ray Dean looks like a new name. So thank you for joining us. And he's coming early with the questions.
Woo.
Do you think Pollard should be the bell cow back or give Rico more rushes?
You want to go first?
Go ahead, Amanda.
Okay. We've talked about it a lot here on the Fifth Quarter. Me and Marcus have gone back with this. Dowdle he's really taking his touches and really exploding with them. He is your power runner. And if you've noticed already in the way we're giving people, the amount of snaps we're giving people, it's kind of already moved to that. I wouldn't say that we're featuring Dowdle, but you can tell that those hard yards we're given to Dowdle now. And we're seeing it. And if you watch sounds from the sideline, it's one of the things I love watching. If you watch that, you can see Tony even says, "Hey, give Rico the yards, man. Give them to Rico." So I don't know. I don't think we need to switch it. I think it's pretty equal right now where it is. I think Tony's getting 15 snaps a game, right?
Yeah, that's about what he needs. Yeah,
that's where he's supposed to be. So I think we've got it working for us. What's up, Jeff?
And I see what you're doing, Jeff. Thank you for joining us. He's trying to get those comments up. I see you, Jeff.
He's going to start typing one word at a time.
Please don't do that, Jeff. And don't give me any more ideas, Amanda. May see the whole alphabet up there at some point. One thing I'll say also, Ray Dean, I think the bell cow back is dead in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
If a running back gets 20 carries, it's almost an anomaly these days. Even the big 240-pound backs, your Derrick Henrys, your Joe Mixons, the running back from Green Bay, not Jones, not Aaron Jones, the other one who's been kind of the lead guy the past couple of weeks. Nobody's getting 20 carries anymore. Jeff, don't start doing that. But yeah, nobody's getting 20 carries anymore. So yeah, I think the bell cow back is kind of dead. The lead back's going to get about 15 to 18. The backup's going to get about 8 to 10.
Yeah, we really saw that this off season with all the big. I mean, you look at Zeke, the big contracts are kind of dead. Unfortunately, it's a use and abuse and then let them loose. That
Yeah.
is where we're at now. And I mean, even Bijan Robinson that everybody expected to be, the stud. Yeah, he's getting yards, but even he's not, the typical bell cow back you expect. So I think we're past that. This is a receivers league now.
Mhm.
That's where it's at. Look at I mean, you just have to look around the league and see where people are featured.
Yeah. Um, so Ray Dean, keep the questions coming. We're gonna keep the show moving along, and we will hit your questions as the show progresses. As you guys know, we are fueled by the fan base. So Ray Dean, great questions, great comments. We'll definitely get to those. And everybody else, feel free to follow Ray Dean's lead. I am making notes on the comments as you put them up. So if it's a good comment, good question, we're definitely gonna address it. But let's get started with the show, and we'll start off with a recap of last week's game with the Seattle Seahawks. Seems like forever ago since we played that game, by
It
the way.
does. It feels like a long time.
But it was definitely a great victory. I know you guys have heard a lot of people talking about it, but we got to give you our fifth quarter spin on it. So let's do a game recap.
Game recap.
As you guys know, we defeated the Seattle Seahawks of a score of 41-35. Very competitive matchup, a lot closer than most of the fan base expected. But at the end of the day, the offense pulled it out. The defense made a play when they needed to. And it was another tough fought matchup against a potential playoff team in that NFC West that always gives us problems from top to bottom. So I got a couple of offensive notes I want to go through, a couple of defensive notes, then we'll get Amanda's points on the game. So first of all, offensive notes. As always, since the bye week, the offense just looks extremely impressive when they're spreading the ball around. We're starting to see Brandon Cooks get involved more. Jake Ferguson's making big plays. Turpin's finally getting put into the offense more. And then, of course, you got your stars, CeeDee Lamb, which leads to my second note. When the passing game goes through Lamb and Ferguson in particular, it looks a lot better. I love Cooks as a player, but it's just something about Ferguson running those seams and Lamb just chopping up guys that just makes the offense flow a lot. I think those two are a great complement off of each other, with Ferguson inside at that tight end spot and Lamb in the slot, because it makes that safety have to make a tough decision. Because when Ferguson is running that seam route or that corner route, the safety either has to make a choice to press him or hope that linebacker that's covering him can stay with him. And then if he does stay with them, then you got CeeDee Lamb in a mismatch against a much smaller slot receiver. And it's been just paying off dividends left and right. And one thing that just extremely stood out, and Amanda, I'll let you hop in. Tyron Smith. I'm in a bunch of group chats, and the whole game, like, it was like blatantly Tyron Smith was just dominating the guy. He almost looked bored at points. It was like 3-step drop, hit him with the pads. The guy goes nowhere. He tries a move. Tyron Smith just shuts it down immediately. It was almost like he was just playing against air. So they need to keep doing what they've been doing with Tyron Smith and not letting him practice and let him just do his thing on the field.
Okay, I've got a few things I want to touch on. Ferguson is, I said it last year, a lot of people were really worried about Dalton. They got really upset, with the idea that we were going to let Dalton Schultz go. That was the best decision we've made. And now he's got his money. He's elsewhere. He's still playing really well. But Ferguson, we have for another 2 years, and we don't owe him really anything.
Uh-huh.
And that is a fantastic situation for us to be in. The best time to use a person is on their rookie contract. So Ferguson is really coming into his own. And that grown man business standing up in Adam's face.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That was exciting to see. I love seeing that passion from the offense. And on that offensive note, I'm not going to say exactly what Jack said, But I just think that people really need to sit back and look at where Dak was last year to where he is this year. Kellen Moore held Dak Prescott back, and I preached it for years, and everyone was like, that's not what the problem was. It is. Dak had outgrown his offensive coordinator, and Kellen's flashy. He's flashy. He wanted to be flashy. He did not balance the game. He wanted to put points up, but he wasn't a balanced offensive coordinator, and we're seeing that now in LA. So I just want to, I mean, Dak has really come, like, he's having the best year I've ever seen. And offensively, this team is scary. People don't want to face this team. And I don't want to say what Dak told the players. Did y'all hear what he said defensively? What after we stopped him there, after he got that last field goal? I hope everyone heard what he said. He went over there and said, y'all, how do I put this? It's y'all's effing turn now. Y'all go turn up, get an effing stop. I have never seen Dak Prescott come unglued like that on the sideline. So I think that we're about to have a December to remember with this offense. And it's really, it's something special. I'm excited to see where it goes. So,
right. And he's got some tough matchups that he has to face with Detroit, Buffalo, Miami, another matchup against Washington, which is going to be very tough because Washington plays us very well. And then I won't even say the Giants. We won't play the Giants anymore. I think that's the whole
Bills. We play the Bills.
The Bills. Yeah. So a lot of tough matchups.
There is but I really think that we're coming on at the right time. And I was really concerned that if this team could play from behind, we have not seen it this year. In fact, we've gotten behind and we let go. It's like we give up and we're deflated. I saw drive, like I saw passion. That was really exciting to see this team become explosive and come out there and play as we go.
Yeah. Before we move on, Rachel Neens has become a regular on the show, so thank you for joining us. Chris Wormsley, appreciate you tuning in. Santi Villalpanda, I hope I pronounced that right. I'm sure I butchered it, but thank you for joining. Looks like a new name, so appreciate you tuning in to the Fifth Quarter Podcast. And then we have Facebook user, which who said that they were Facebook user last week, Amanda? You remember?
It's the person who's sitting in the queue down below.
Oh, okay. So, gotcha.
But I think it's my aunt. I saw another comment, so I'm pretty sure it's my aunt. So I'm pretty sure that's who it is.
All right, Tyson, whenever you're ready, just give me a thumbs up. I see you kind of moving around. I can see you. Okay. Ray Dean, is there any last minute pickups you take now? I'm not a fan of Steele. Get beats like he stole something.
Well, we're stuck with Steele. We just gave him an awful lot of money. So
and there's no offensive lineman that you're going to get off the streets right now that's going to even be eligible to play in the game. Like, their offensive line is hard to find, and Steele's probably going to be the best you can get. There's talk about Ndamukong Suh maybe wanting to come back. If you want some depth at nose tackle, maybe you want to put a corner on the practice squad. I don't have a name for you, but offense is pretty much set where they are. If you're going to grab a guy, you're going to grab a guy on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I saw Anthony Barr was an option too. I saw we were looking at that maybe from poaching him off the Vikings practice squad.
Right. Yeah, you always want to load up on defensive guys. Offense, those are very hard positions to find if they're good. So if somebody goes down, you're just going to have to hope the next man up that's already on the roster can fill in the gaps. All right, Tyson, I'm going to bring you in a minute. I want to go through my defensive notes, and then we'll bring you up. So on the defensive side of the ball, and a lot of people are saying the offense kind of carried us, and that's true. But one thing I noticed on the defense, 3 games, 12 days. Defense is known for just being high energy, explosive, running around. They all looked a step slow in last week's game, and that's understandable. I mean, you're coming off all those games in such a short period of time, and all of our key players are 95% plus on the field at corner and linebacker and defensive tackle. So you're going to see those guys slow down a little bit. And then to add on top of that, you look on the other side of the field and you got one of the best receivers coming out of college. You got an extremely fast, quick, intelligent Tyler Lockett. And then you just got a guy who was created in a lab who's 6'4", 220, runs a 4.3, and DK Metcalf. Now, there's not much you can do with that. But going to my second point, those were some great adjustments made by the coaching staff in the second half. They saw that Metcalf was kind of taking advantage of Bland just with the height, weight, and speed. So what they did to adjust to that, you at least put some size over there so you could take away the height advantage. And then they started putting Hooker over top more. So it was kind of a bracket on Metcalf. And then you just let your guy Bland cover whoever's on the other side. So that did help a little bit. We didn't get any sacks in the game, but the defensive line was bringing a lot of good pressure in the second half to help rush a couple of throws that could have gone for some big plays that did in the first half. Last comment, I don't know why they stopped doing this, but Donovan Wilson's strength is inside the box. He needs to go back to being that spy the quarterback guy, that patrol within 10 yards, kind of make the big hit, make the big play guy, and stop letting him get put in situations where he's covering wide receivers and tight ends down the field. I don't know why they stopped letting Kurtz do that, but Wilson doesn't need to be doing it anymore, honestly, because he's clearly a step slow.
Yeah. I think do you think it's the injury maybe? I've always wondered if that was part of the issue, is that injury kind of taunted him. I don't know.
I mean, it could be the injury also, but he's never been good at that throughout his entire career, in my opinion. He's never been a cover guy. He's always been a big hit, borderline number 3 linebacker type guy. And they've really been putting him in situations where he's covering more, where Jaron Kearse has been the tight end stopper the past 3 years. So I don't know if maybe Kearse is hurt, and that's why they letting Wilson do it more. All right. Any thoughts, Amanda, before we bring in Tyson?
I am glad that we did not have to depend on the defense last week. Yeah. I mean, they got a couple of key stops when it was necessary, but it was a really rough game for them. They looked slow. It looked like some of them didn't even want to be there at some time. I mean, I didn't get that. It was a short week. It was a lot of games, and we play a very explosive, fast-paced defense. That's the way we play. And so I'm just going to hold it to that, and I'm going to wait to hold judgment till we see them this week, because this is 10 days of rest. So I'm going to reserve getting too upset with them, because it was a lot of games and 12 days, 3 games, 12 days. So
yeah, 12 days.
Yeah, it was a lot. So I'm not too worried. Evans looked lost out there when we did have him. I don't understand that. Stephon Gilmore we've talked about it. He's the more physical player. He's not the ball hawk. He's more physical. So I was really happy to see that adjustment made. I love seeing adjustments, because it's something we complained about for years, that adjustments weren't made at halftime. We'd come out and we'd just fall flat. It was very rare that we could come back. So I'm excited to see as we progress, and I'm just going to make note that the defense was probably playing extremely tired. And I saw there was a sickness running through the building too. So I think that probably makes a big difference too.
Well, yeah, definitely. So I see we got a lot of people joining us. I see we got my guy Shane Odom joining. Shane, thank you for tuning in as always. Appreciate your support. Great questions, great comments. Hector Rosario, Wilson should definitely be blitzing more. I agree. Timothy Altele, I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. Looks like a new name, so thank you for joining us also. You said Kearse has been the biggest week on defense. You've been saying it since the start of the season. I would definitely have to agree with you on that. He's not covering for a reason. I'm kind of curious what that is, but he is still our green dot guy, so he has to be on the field because he's the one that's calling the defensive plays. And that allows our linebackers to play a lot freer and not have as many responsibilities. So even though he's not playing as well as he has been before, his impact is still influential on the outcome of the game. All right, so before we go to our player of the game, we'll take a step back for a second and we'll introduce another guest on the show. This is another one of the admin from the DC4L network. Tyson, pronounce your last name for me, please.
Gott.
Okay. Tyson Gott, another admin, long time admin for DC4L. Appreciate you tuning in tonight, joining us. Where are you joining us from?
I'm in Lafayette, Louisiana. Kind of caught me had a issue come up that it got me on the road, and I wasn't expecting on the road tonight, so it kind of put me in a bind. And I didn't hear from you guys, so I wasn't sure if y'all needed me. But I do apologize. But I'm on now, so
Okay. If you ever need to duck out, it's no problem. Me and Amanda take care of it. We'll bring you back another day.
Yeah, Tyson is. Let's see. I think he's been with us 6 years. Tyson's been in my home before. I know Tyson pretty well. He's a really good, and he's a very, very good football minded guy. So he can talk X's and O's and probably plays that I would never be able to with Marcus. So happy to have you, Tyson.
absolutely.
Yeah. So shouts out to Steven Franco, not new to the Cowboys, new to the channel in the DC4L group. Well, we appreciate you joining the DC4L group. We also appreciate you joining us for the fifth quarter podcast tonight. And I see you're joining us from YouTube. So while you're there, make sure you hit that subscribe button and also hit that bell so that you'll be aware of any future fifth quarter podcast episodes. All right. So Tyson, you came at the right time. We're just about to do our first giveaway. But before we do that, we're going to talk about this week's player of the game. Of course, we had a lot of options to choose from, mainly from the offensive side of the ball. But when you look at just the play of the game and the most influence, we could always go Dak. But this week, we got to go to the guy he was throwing it to, and that was CeeDee Lamb. 12 catches, 116 yards, big touchdown early in the game. He was a chain mover. He had one key drop at a critical point of the game, but he did make up for it, and he was consistently good throughout. Tyson, since you're new to the show, why don't you talk a little bit about CeeDee Lamb's performance on Thursday night?
Oh, like every time, he's just a consistent guy. I mean, he's as consistent of a guy you're gonna find in the NFL. There's nobody that does what he does as far as consistency is concerned. You know, he don't have the blazing speed like some other guys have, but you can't find a guy that runs a better route than he does. I don't think you can find anybody. I don't. Y'all disagree with that?
Oh, 100%. His route running has drastically improved.
I still give credit to Amari for teaching him some of that, okay? Like, you have to give him that you taught him, okay? And you see some of Amari's moves, like some of those jukes. Those are things you saw Amari do that he's kind of lost a step if you watch Cleveland. So it's exciting to see the student outpass the teacher.
Mm-hmm. And what I love about CD, I mean, you can see the development in his game where people just thought he's just a slot guy. He's a big slot guy. You see him going in motion. He's going out wide. He's going at the X. He's going in the slot. He's doing reverses. He's just dominating no matter where you put him at. And you can see the changes in his body as well as the growth in his route running, just like you said, Amanda. The guy just does it all now.
I really like having him as a rusher. I was sitting here watching that. That's really given him this new caveat to his playing ability. I really enjoy seeing that. And he's fat. And I mean, he's not, like Tyson said, he's not the fastest guy. He's not your Tyreek or even your Devon Chain. I can't say his last name. He's not that fast. We don't have the track meet team, but he's reliable and he is so sturdy. And sometimes I feel like, just watch like what we just saw, I feel like he was going to get broken sometimes out there. I really worry for him sometimes with the hits that he takes, but he just gets right back up and keeps going. It's impressive. It really is to watch him grow as a receiver. He's going to get a lot of money this offseason, a lot of money.
Yes, he is. And I love how they're using him. And Amanda, you talked about this before, how Dak Prescott outgrew Kellen Moore's scheme. CeeDee Lamb also outgrew that scheme as well. He's a premier wide receiver, and in a Kellen Moore offense, you're just not going to get the opportunities to show what you can do because you're always going to be on the left side or the right side. And when the ball snapped, there's no first read. It's always the quarterback just find who's open. In this new offense, Lamb's going to get put in the best position to make the best play, and he's always going to be the first read.
One thing, I don't know if you've noticed too. So we see, okay, I'll compare it to another former 88. Okay. You've got Dez. Dez rarely would take the blame for things, and you'd see him point at other people. Do y'all remember that? Dez would constantly point at someone else, say, hey, that's your fault. One thing that you will always get with CD, that pat on the chest. Hey, that was on me, and I'm going to make up for it. And he does. He constantly comes back. He does not give up. And that's one thing I really like. And he's also not selfish. Receivers are quintessential. You can find a lot of selfish people in this league who want stats. They want to pad their stats. It helps their check. That's not a CeeDee Lamb. In fact, we don't have many players on this team that you will find that are selfish. And that's something I really CeeDee is phenomenal. And I'm really excited to see him continue to grow.
Yeah, me
Agree
too.
100% on that one.
All right. And Hector Rosario, thank you for joining us. You asked, how do I find this on YouTube? We're still working on the DC4L YouTube page, but until we get that set up, feel free to find me on YouTube at Bluff City Cowboys. If you go to the top of the comments on this broadcast, I put the link in there. Just click on the link, hit the subscribe button, and you'll be notified of any future shows. And you'll also be supporting me as I go on my road to 1,000 subscribers. All right, Keith M. Smith, thank you for joining us. 48-year fan. Want to see my team play up to its potential in games that matter. I think we're definitely going to see that this week. And Steve Franco says he was like that at the Sooners as well. Great point. He was a big yak guy with the Sooners. One of the reasons he was drafted, playing in Kellen Moore's offense. You didn't get to see that a lot, but now they're starting to bring it out with those reverses and quick hitches and things like that. Okay, so that's pretty much it of last week's game. We're going to put that in a bow, put that in last week, and we're going to move ahead to the big rivalry week against the Philadelphia Eagles. But before we do that, we are going to do our first giveaway. So, Amanda, would you like to tell the people what giveaway number 1 is for this week?
So we're going to go a little old school, and I'm sure all of our older Cowboys fans and hopefully even some of our younger fans will probably know. So this is going to be a signed 8x10 of Dat Win. So it's a little bit old school, former Texas Aggie. I'm sure, y'all know that. So we're going to go off. And that's going to be the first one. And all you have to do is message me your address if you win. You can find me in the Facebook group DC4L, Amanda Foster. Just shoot me your address if you're the winner, and we will get that sent out. But just a warning. So the U.S. Postal Service right now is an absolute nightmare. So I want to apologize in advance. I have packages I sent out a week and a half ago that still haven't made it, and I paid for 2 to 3 days. So I will keep you updated as we go. I've got a winner who knows that. I've kept updated as we go. So just want to let you know that's what it is. But Dat Win, and good luck, everyone.
Yeah, Keith Smith, one of my all-time favorite Cowboys guys. I'm kind of one of those obscure fans where I'm not into the big names. I just like how certain guys play. So Dat Win, Dexter Coakley, George Teague, Nate Newton, those are some of my guys. So I know I'm disqualified from the winnings, but this is a great thing to have if you're a diehard Cowboys fan. So gonna hit this button. Everybody who's left a comment is gonna be in the runnings, and whatever name pops up will be the winner. I did leave a comment tonight, so if it does pull me, of course we'll do it again. So here we go. Let's see who the winner is. I see my name keep popping up. Chris Wormsley.
Hey. And I already have Chris's address. I think he just subscribed to our Patreon. So congrats, Chris. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for joining us as always, Chris. I always like to see some of our diehard fans win prizes. One of the reasons I came over to the Fifth Quarter podcast is so people like you who support this network and support me can be able to get rewarded. So Amanda, you just brought up the Patreon. Can you tell the people a little bit about the Patreon, what it is and what it offers?
Sure. Y'all, okay, I'm not really good at the I should probably like have one of my admins do like a commercial. But so our Patreon, there's two different tiers. There's $5.99, which is the active roster, and then there's the $10.99 Pro Bowler tier. It's a separate app. We moved off Facebook because they didn't really provide the platform we wanted, and Patreon's really big on YouTube, like with YouTube content creators. And so it's super simple. You just join, and we are about to start 20 days of Christmas giveaways. That's 20 prizes, 20 consecutive days, and someone will win something every day. I am a big believer in fans getting things at excellent prices. And then for honestly, just putting memorabilia in fans' hands. I don't want to be one of those content creators or even a group owner that's like, hey, these fans don't know any better. They don't need anything. Let's just take advantage. That's not me. I like giving stuff away. So I'm going to give y'all all sorts of stuff. Rachel's been there. Neil Christian, I see him in the comments. Anyone who's been there can tell you I'm constantly giving stuff away. I've even got a really sweet pair of pants that there's some photos of it up in the Patreon. But all you got to do is come and join. It's $5.99 a month for the lowest tier, and that gets you into most of the contests, and that will get you into every contest for 20 days of giveaways, but you have to join by tomorrow. So I will drop a link here shortly into the chat so you can join it. And then you download the app, and all you have to do to enter is comment. Like, I'll ask a question, like sometimes it's Cowboys related and sometimes it's not. I ask the question, you answer it, and then someone wins. And there is a contest up every week without fail, and that runs even in the off season. We have sent people to football games. We've done tickets. We've done all sorts of stuff. So I hope to see y'all there.
So Hector Rosario looks like he's a Patreon member. Says he got in around Thanksgiving, already won something.
He got it today, I believe. I think Hector got his prize today. I think I got an update earlier that it arrives.
Yeah, so Stephen Franco, keep joining us. Make sure you continue to follow. We'll keep you up to date. Stay in touch with Amanda if you want to join that Patreon. I don't know if I've asked this before, Amanda, but is there an option for people to pay like an annual fee? Or is it 100% monthly?
I really wish we could. That's something that we had hoped, and we have asked that you can do it. I haven't found that option yet.
Okay.
And I'll be like, so we have an option here. I think we hit the opportunity to do 2 or 3 free, like a 3-day trial. So you kind of get an idea of what the group's like. And I'm working on getting that launched. But right now it's per month. So it is, $5.99 out per month. But it is super safe, reliable. They've got an excellent BBB rating. You don't have to worry about anything. You're super protected. And you get to hang out with a lot of fans. And you will get first access to some of our contests that we drop. Like sometimes you even get 2 entries if you happen to. That's something we're going to start doing here soon too. You'll get 2, like with our, we do a weekly contest where so I think it's this week. I haven't dropped it yet, but it's how many total yards will Dak Prescott have against the Eagles. So we'll have that this week. And what we're going to start is our Patreon members will get 2 guesses. So they will get to guess twice. So you can kind of get a chance there to get 2 things. So there's perks all the way around. And like I said, and you get to go to football games sometimes. We give tickets away. We've done tickets now, Tyson? Twice, I think. I think we've done tickets twice, right? He might not be able to hear me.
He's muted right now.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Say again. I'm sorry.
We did tickets twice, right? We've done 2 ticket giveaways so far, I think, in DC for L.
Yeah, I believe so. That we did it this past preseason, and I think the one before that as well.
Yeah, and we're also going to work on getting some. We're still going to work on getting some real season tickets. I'm working with a season ticket holder, so we're working on that. So just join, hang out, and then watch our page. We have contests all the time. We do them on the page, the Facebook group, and the Patreon. We're always giving stuff away.
All right, so I see we got a couple of questions in the comments. Gonna go through a couple of these to play catch up because we like to make sure that we acknowledge you guys for joining us on the show and make sure your questions get answered. So Ray Dean has been coming with the great questions tonight. First question: will Bryant get some play in? Gallup isn't what he was. Also, Turpin's a lot as wide receiver. I doubt you see Bryant this year. He was just a shot in the dark practice squad guy. Give him a chance to get in shape. Maybe he gets an opportunity next year. If we get late in the season and some guys are looking kind of like they're worn down, he may get a chance. but very slim chances you see him in a game day roster.
Maybe week 18 if there's no to play for and we have to.
Right.
That'd be the one time that they might be able to do it. They might bring him in if that kind of if they want to sit somebody inactive or something like that. Put Lamb inactive
Exactly.
or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was kind of my thought process too. And, he has been out of the league for a long time. He's going to get game. I mean, playing football when you're not on a team and conditioning is one thing, but when you're with a football team, there's a lot more expected of you. He's got to learn the playbook. I
Mhm.
think we also signed him just to see what he still had in the tank. We kicked the tires to see what was there. Barring a major injury or another thing kind of into his disadvantage here is that right now, normally someone's pulled ahead in your division. Like if we look in seasons past, I think we were pretty much locked into that fifth seed last year pretty early. I think we
Mhm.
still had 2 or 3 games left last year, locked into that fifth seed. Really, there was no division. I mean, it was just the way it was. And I remember that. And you look at it this time, we're playing for the division Sunday night. You don't want to play, let's, kick the tires and see what this receiver who hadn't been here for 5 years, what he can do. So I really think that's going to play to his disadvantage. He's not really going to get playing time. I expect to see him, preseason next year would be my guess.
Yeah, and I was just trying to look up the wide receiver coach just to see if he has any ties, because sometimes a guy may just be a friend of his or one of his old coaches and say, we got an extra spot in the practice squad. Why don't you give one of my guys a chance just to show what he can do, get some tape out there so he can maybe get an opportunity next year. I'm looking at Robert Prince's history. I don't see anywhere where he's been tied to Martavis Bryant, but it also could be that, like I said, he could have a tie with somebody on the offensive coaching staff or position coach.
If you look when we signed him too, Gallup was really struggling.
Yeah.
You kind of look at when we brought him in, and at this moment, our offense is on fire. I mean, we had started to kick it up a notch when we signed the guy, but it's really went, into overdrive. So I think that also there's just a lot of key factors at play, and I just don't think that he's going to get an opportunity right now.
All right. Stephen Franco asked the question, what kind of offense are we expecting to see with Dan Quinn? Tyson, you want to speak on that one? What do you think we're going to see in terms of the offense if Mike McCarthy is unable to be on the sidelines on Sunday?
Well, that's going to be a big question. I mean, it's kind of hard to say. I would assume it'd be something similar to what we've been seeing, because I think they pretty much work hand in hand with the OC. But it's definitely going to be different. So I said that in our chat group today. It's not a huge problem, him not being on the installs this week, but it's not a non-factor either. There's definitely some problems with it. So we'll have to wait and see. I would not be surprised if we start slow on offense in the game. It might have a couple 3 and outs to start out just to get things going on. It would not surprise me at all.
I'm actually really, really worried about this situation, and people aren't putting, I don't think, enough stock into how big of a deal this really is. Marcus and I were talking about this before the show started. I asked him what he thought, and I'm really worried. I guess you could say, in essence, this is like a Dan Quinn audition, for all the people saying McCarthy's job needs to be gone, but McCarthy ain't going nowhere. Look at he's headed to another 12-win season, most likely. I mean, you look at the statistics behind it. Yeah, he hadn't got we don't know. We could get to the championship game this year, but I'm just saying he's had success. McCarthy really fires that team up more than I think we know. And Dan's never on the sidelines. That really bugs me. Dan is up top. Dan's is up in a suite or in a box listening. He's calling down plays. He's calling down things he sees. So I'm afraid that could affect us both offensively and defensively. Because if you've got Dan on the sidelines, that's a different view than what he's got going on upstairs.
Yeah.
So I'm worried about this a lot more. And I think Schlottenmeyer, I can't say his last name, Brian.
Yeah.
I'll just call him Brian. Okay, we're just going to call him Brian. Brian has been there, and he talks to Dak a lot through a game. I love watching the sideline. I know it sounds bizarre, but I watch a lot of after the games are over. I like to go back and watch a lot, and I like to see what coaches are interacting with who. Like you see Al Harris, he is always right there at the good, bad, ugly. He is right there all the time with his DBs. Brian's right there with your quarterbacks. I mean, he is your OC, but how much is he really doing when it comes down to it? Mike's making this happen. So I'm really worried about what could happen.
Um,
Now, go ahead, Tyson.
just no big deal. Just something that y'all may not know. Mike is actually he got schooled by Brian's daddy, Marty. That Marty was his mentor. That's
Okay.
kind of how he knows Brian
Huh.
so well. Yes, that's where Mike got his start, was under Marty Schottenheimer. So that's kind of where his deal with Brian is. That's how this all came about in the
Huh.
first place. So yeah, so it's actually, it's not, when it comes to the offense, I think we'll be fine. But as you said, if for some reason Quinn has to be on the sideline, that could be a problem for the defense. Absolutely, it could be a problem.
Well, see, I didn't know that, Marcus. Say, just I didn't
Yeah.
know that's where Mike got his start. Man, Tyson coming with the facts.
Does that go back to his Green Bay time or Kansas City?
Kansas City.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, didn't know that.
Man, wow.
So glad you brought that up. Somebody did ask the question, who is that in the bottom of the screen tonight? So Steven, you came on the show late. This is one of the admin for the DCL network, another very knowledgeable Cowboy fan, Tyson Gott, who's joining us for tonight's show. And we're gonna bring more admin on, especially for like rivalry weeks, because we all know the rivals. If we don't know anything else, we can talk about the rivals. So I'm gonna have some good dialogue.
And just real quick, Marcus, I just want to let everyone watching know, like, the admin team, Marcus is part of our admin team. That admin team, I am so blessed every day to have that team together. Tanya is my co-owner. You see her. She's always dropping the news and the information. I don't know how she does it. She is always on top of that stuff. She blows my mind all the time. Anyone who's in the group knows that. But I just want to say that I'm very blessed, and you're going to get, I hope y'all get to meet all the admins, because they are fantastic, and they all have a different mindset, and we are from all over the country. So Tyson's in Louisiana, I'm in Texas, Marcus is in Tennessee, but we've got a ton of people, and I'm just really excited. Marcus is a phenomenal host, and I'm excited to have him work and bring in all the admins for y'all to get to know, because they love y'all, they love our members, and I just want y'all to know that. So they all have a passion that's awesome. So I just wanted to put that out in the air, that they're excited to be part of the team and excited to know everybody.
And Jeff says he's coming for
I saw that when you commented.
Thank you, Rachel. I
Thank you,
appreciate that. Stephen Franco says he wants to be a mod sometime. But all you guys got to do is reach out to Amanda. Keep following the Fifth Quarter podcast.
Yeah,
Let
keep
her
following.
see. Yeah, let her see that you're consistent with supporting the group and supporting everything the group does. And then once you get to that point, then she'll probably try to find a way to help you be a member, maybe not admin, maybe moderator, something like that.
Yeah, just to let y'all know, most of our team has all been together for 6 years. We run pretty small team because it's easier to keep everything up, but we do usually have openings. We try to add one or two. Marcus got on right before season start, right?
Mm-hmm.
You and Cy came on together. Yeah. So I was excited. I've been wanting Marcus on for a while. I followed Marcus since 2020. I loved Blessed City. So I just wanted to say, yeah, just keep an eye, keep being active in the group, content, be civil and friendly. That's the big thing, be polite, debate football without insults and all that. We keep an eye on that. We know who our regulars are. And then when we go looking for mods, we always look for our regulars to comment. So it's definitely not out of the realm of possibilities. So just keep being, an active member.
Especially during the off season. That's when we normally add, not during the season.
Yeah, you don't want to join during the season.
Right.
It's crazy.
Especially on game day.
Y'all don't. Woo! It's fun, y'all. You should be a part of our chat, though. I'm always ahead of everybody in the game. So everyone thinks, so one of our admins likes to pretend like she's predicting the calls and tells her son like what's about to happen, because I've just said what happened. I ruin everyone's game because I'm like 10 to 15 seconds early.
Stephen Franco, and we're going to move on with the show. We're 45 minutes. We're still going to get out of here by in an hour 15. But I just want to say this: you're afraid to post because you don't want to get bullied. I hate to pat ourselves on the back, but we do a great job of making sure that there is no cyberbullying going on. And if we miss it and you let us know, we'll take care of it immediately. One thing I'm an admin in a couple of groups, and just looking behind the scenes, this group is by far the best I've seen when it comes to taking out cyberbullying and keeping it to just fun and football and facts.
Yeah, you can debate football till you're blue in the face as long as you're nice. It's fun. That's the whole point of it. Bullying's ridiculous.
Yeah.
We're not in school anymore, y'all. So I promise, don't be worried. We're always watching. We have a lot of protection set up. So, and if something happens, just tag somebody. If you type the word admin, it literally lets us know that someone's typed that word. So just don't worry, post away.
And we have a ton of words that we look for that are keywords that if they show up, we take them out immediately. All right, guys, let's keep the show progressing. We'll start off first when we talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, and we'll go into some of our key matchups to look for in this week's game.
Key matchups.
Before we talk about key matchups, we got to talk about just the overall tale of the tape between the Cowboys and the Eagles. You look at that scoring offense, as you can see, it's pretty much equal. We're both, I believe we're 2-3 in the NFL right now behind Miami. We may be 1-2, but we're both averaging about 28 points a game. And then you go down to our scoring defenses. As you guys can see, we're right at the top of the list, 17 points a game. Philly, not that far behind, but middle of the pack around 21.5. And a lot of that has to do with this third column, which is the turnover differential, where the Cowboys are a +6 and Philadelphia is a -3. And for you guys that don't know what turnover differential is, the offense gives up this many turnovers. The defense takes this many. When you put the two together and average them out, you get a plus or a minus. A plus means the defense is taking the ball at a rate higher than the offense is giving it up. And if it's a negative, that means it's the exact opposite. And you have a quarterback like Jalen Hurts, who's pretty much leading the league or second in turnovers. And you have a defense that's not very good on the back end, that's not able to take the ball away. Going through the comments, let me see. Had a lot of comments come through, people giving game predictions. Rachel Nians, thank you for that. This is the best I see. Other Cowboy groups is horrible. Other groups I actually left some. I mean, I'm at the point right now where I was in like 15 groups. I'm only in 3. And 2 of them I'm admin in, and even one of those I'm thinking about leaving. So it's definitely not a lot of good groups out there for people who want to really talk football and just have a good time with fans. And Brett Reichter talking about watching on fantasy football apps. Yeah, I have to avoid all that stuff on game day.
Marcus will mute sometimes. Say, I got to mute this chat.
Yeah, I do. I mute a lot of
in here.
Steven Franco, let's get the win all in for Quinn before McCarthy. Ryan at DC Diner, thank you for joining. Your concern is which defense is going to show up for both teams. And B. Neil Christian, thank you for correcting me. Jalen is second in turnovers behind Josh Allen, which we're also going to see in a couple of weeks. And Michael Calderon, thank you for joining. Let's go Cowboys, definitely. And someone just put up the first key matchup. Terrence Steele needs to play a lot better than last time. And thank you for that segue, Hector, because that is definitely going to be our first key matchup of this week. And that is Terrence Steele versus Hassan Reddick, who just terrorized him in the last matchup we had.
They better get that man some help. If we didn't learn, then we don't deserve to win this game. They better pull a tight end over somebody. Get Terrence Steele some help. We'd have won that game. I mean, come on, let's all be real. We all know what happened the last 2 minutes. Terrence, I'm really worried about this matchup. I think he's been playing better. I think he got a really rude awakening that game. I mean, if you look, he's played much better. But Hassan Reddick is a force of nature. Mm-hmm. That man is really good. People hate saying that. There's a lot of Cowboys fans who won't even say it because it's an Eagles player. You got to give credit where credit's due. Hassan's a really, really strong player. So this is the biggest key matchup to me of the game.
Yes.
is can our line hold? I hope so, Timothy. I really hope so.
Yeah, and I hate to say this. I know Cowboys fans don't like to say it. Hassan Reddick was Micah Parsons before Micah Parsons, honestly. He's not on the same level as Micah, but when you look for a hybrid linebacker DN guy who can stand up and rush the passer, he was doing that at Arizona before he came to Philly, but he just wasn't doing it at the rate he's doing it now because Arizona was a disaster back then. But very talented guy. Tyson, 1 to 10. How much better do you think Steele will be? 10 being great, 1 being what we saw last time they played.
I don't see him being that much better. I think they're going to have to give him help. I really think he's going to need help. They're going to have to change the offense a little bit, bring an inline tight end to give him some help. That's something. I don't know why they didn't make that adjustment the last game. I saw it. We as fans we saw it. How the world of coaches did not see it. I mean, maybe he's a little better, but I don't see it. We're going to have to give him some help if we're going to make it better on that side.
Yeah. And you talk about that. That's another one of those things, Amanda, where I'm concerned about Mike McCarthy not being there.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have Ferguson going out on routes. He's proven that the past 2 weeks. So that means.
Do you think that's why we brought Hindi up? You think Hindi's going to help pick up Hassan some, run 2 tight end sets?
Well, I was gonna lead into that. I think they have to bring him to shot because his 21-day window is up. So if they didn't bring him up, he was have to go on IR for the whole year. But I think we're gonna see a lot more 12 personnel because I don't think Ferguson, even though he's capable, I don't think he's gonna be the guy that's over there doing the chipping.
No, because Hendershot's better at that anyway. If he's healthy enough to play, he's better at that than Ferguson. So we should be better on that end if that's what they're going to do.
Yeah. And Stephen White, great comment saying run at Reddick. You saw the Niners do a lot. One thing I do notice about Reddick is he will take that outside shoulder and go hard, and that leaves some wide running lanes in that B gap and that C gap if you do some delayed runs and that running back can get over there. So that's definitely something you got to pay attention to. Stephen White also saying bring in Hunter to help block and chip. We haven't seen that a lot. Maybe we'll see it in this week's game. You never know. And B. Neil Christian saying Dak needs to use his legs more in this game. He used his legs quite a bit in the last time we played them. Reddick was just getting back there so fast he didn't have a chance to make a move to get away.
You know, that's really where we saw Dak's legs start becoming a factor again, is that first game against Philly. I mean, we were all pretty shocked to see it. I mean, I remember talking about it. It was.
I mean, we do have to remember. I mean, even with the problems with Steele, with Reddick, as bad as that was, we still had a pretty good offensive game that game. It was just some miscommunications at the end of the game that messed it all up. You can put it on a few different people that made mistakes at the end of the game that messed it up. We should have won the game. I mean, we played a better game than they did. We just didn't make the plays at the end of the game to finish it off.
Yeah, Timothy saying don't sleep on Schoonmaker. He's solid and he's improving, but he's just not ready yet.
Yeah, he's got butterfingers right now too. Y'all notice that? Yeah, butterfingers. I mean, but then again, you look and you say, well, he would have had that touchdown if if a ref would have known how to throw a flag. They seem to lose them at certain times during the game. And let's just hope that we're at home and that's going to help a lot, because I don't know if y'all noticed last week, the refs really called a fair game for the Eagles and the Niners. That was a pretty fair game all the way around. I was really impressed. I hope that continues because officiating should not determine the outcome of the game.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
I was just going to say, I did see a post that the Cowboys did have some refs at practice this week.
Yeah, they were prepared, right? They said, okay, y'all come on out here and make sure you keep us honest.
Exactly.
They they were like, we aren't going to mess around today.
Stephen Franco asked the question, what about screens would help? You know, the way the Eagles play defense, they play a lot of press, so you don't really want to run screens against a press team unless we just start killing them so bad that they start playing off. But Slay likes to get in the receiver's face, and so does I go blank when I go live. What's the other corner's name?
Oh my God. Cunningham, right? No, hold on. What? I can't even think of it. Blankenship. Reed Blankenship.
That's the safety.
Oh,
The other corner, opposite.
Ah, it's not. Hold on, I can't think.
James Bradbury. Burnt
There you
toast
go.
Bradbury. Thank you.
I,
Thank you guys in the comments.
I'm gonna go through every other position.
Hey, at
Let
least
me
you
just
know
start
the
naming off.
secondary.
Hey, right, it was the second. Hey, see,
Right.
And that's also, Eagles don't blitz a lot, and that's if you don't blitz a lot, you don't run the screen against it. That screen is a blitz buster. That's what you run the screen for. So
Mhm.
that's why that wouldn't work against them at all.
I think that with Terrence, if we just go back to this key matchup, I just want to say that if we can get someone to help Terrence on that side, and if we can they're really fast off the ball. The Eagles are super fast off the ball. That's one of their specialties. I don't know if a lot of people pay attention, but they are very fast off the ball. And it actually it can be a hindrance for them because it does cause a lot of off. They've had an issue with offsides here and there as they go. But I think that if we can beat that speed, and with Tyron, like Tyron's having the best dang season I've seen him play in forever. So I'm really confident on the left side. If the right side can match the left side's energy, I'm not going to say we're going to blow them out. I had a dream that we actually I had a dream that it was like 50 something to 5. And I'm like, how did they got a safety? I was like, how's that even what? Wouldn't that be something if that really happened? But I do think we're going to have an exceptionally good game now. And something else people need to remember, if we win, now it won't hold much weight in water, but if we win, we do temporarily move into first place in the East. Just because of division record, we would have a better division record at that time. We'd be 4-1 in the division and they would be 3-1. So we would temporarily take over first, and they play Seattle. And if Seattle plays them like they played us, and they're going to come off, they're most likely coming off a rough loss next week too, because they play the Niners this week. So I really think that it could be it could play into our advantage. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, that's going to be a must-win game for Seattle to get that 7th spot, because the Rams are right behind them, and Minnesota's getting Jefferson back. So they're going to make a push as well. It's going to be tough, and they're going to really need their game because they have no shot against beating the Niners. Yeah. And that's going to put them on the outside looking in.
And they have to play in Seattle. So we have to take care of business tonight, because if we can take care of business tonight and keep winning, or not tonight, on Sunday and keep winning, then there's a good chance we could hold the division. Now, I don't see us taking the first seed, but I feel a lot more comfortable at home than I do having to go out and win 3 games on the road. So that's what I'm saying. We just have to one game at a time. So
All right. So let's keep the show moving. We've been talking about Terrence Steele and the need for tight ends to help. That takes us to our second key matchup, which is Jake Ferguson versus Nicholas Morrow. We all learned this name a lot on Sunday because he was getting torched left and right
by Debo.
And as well as Kittle. Kittle got him some as well. I know the team just signed Shaq Leonard.
He's not going to play.
We don't even talk about that as news because he's not a Cowboy. He's out of our memory. Like Amanda just said, you probably won't see him play. He came in on Monday. No chance of knowing the playbook to be able to play a game.
Well, because his position, he's got to call the play. I mean, he's got to put everybody right. Yeah. Isn't that his position would be like LVE's was, getting everybody set, right?
Yeah, but not necessarily. You can have anybody with the mic. You don't have to necessarily have the mic to do it. You can have a safety, or you can have the strong side do it. So that's not necessarily the case.
I just don't. Go ahead, Mark.
On that team, I'm almost certain that Zach Cunningham is the play caller.
Okay.
Now, that's actually the position that Shaq Leonard plays, in my opinion. I think he's more of a wheel linebacker than a Mike. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic to see how they use him. I mean, they could play him in Mike's but I think he's a better wheel. Nicholas Morrow, while he did get burnt, he's probably the only big linebacker they have. So that dynamic is going to be very interesting to see how they move forward when it comes to putting Shaq Leonard on the field. I don't think the grass is going to be greener on the other side like he thought when he signed with them. And again, I don't think he plays this week. I think Nicholas Morrow has another big test against him going against Jake Ferguson in a game last week where it seemed like he had all the confidence in the world, and he's finally showing us that I'm the number one tight end, and you guys wasted a pick on Schoonmaker.
Man, I don't know. I know Tyson had told everybody in the offseason. I mean, I kept my mouth shut a lot about it. I was letting Tyson tell people what was going on, but he kept telling people we will not miss Dalton by the end of the season. And Tyson was spot on. We do not miss Dalton at all. And I mean, I was worried. I mean, I have Dalton on one of my fantasy teams. He's still a stud player, but man, Jake Ferguson he is a big guy too. He's what, 6'5"? Dude
Yeah.
was like towering over people out there. I bet, and I also expect him to start fighting people at some point. I was afraid he's going to get thrown out there for a minute, getting up in people's faces.
Yeah, a great point, Jeff. I think they're going to look at that Niners game plan, and they're going to take a lot of elements from it. I mean, from a receiver standpoint, skill player standpoint, we're very similar to them. Tony Pollard can do some of the same stuff McCaffrey can do, but McCaffrey's just another level. But we've got the Debo type guy in CeeDee Lamb. We've got the big physical receivers on the outside with Tolbert and Gallup. And then we have another element that the Niners don't have with the speed of a guy like a Turpin and Brandon Cooks. So, yeah, we got to spread them out, make their safeties be honest, make Nicholas Morrow have to cover. Even if Shaq Leonard plays, there's no chance he plays in a situation where it's passing. You can throw him out there on 1st and 10 when you're assuming they're going to run and he can pick a run lane. If it's 3rd and 7 and you're expecting him to know what to do when that wide receiver goes in motion and who's his key and all that type of stuff, there's no chance he does any of that. So even if he plays, he's not going to be in the passing game.
I think they got him more for an insurance policy because with their linebacker being they're so thin at LB. I mean, I think they got him for an insurance policy. I mean, he'll probably play more as we get further in, but I think he's more of a playoff person. That's really what I think they went for Shaq for. And Ferguson, Chris Wormsley said that Ferguson reminds him of Witten. I just want to say that he reminds me of Gronk. That is who Ferguson really reminds me of with his playing ability and like his physicality. Witten was slow. Ferguson is not slow. He is not a slow receiver. So he reminds me of a Gronk.
And he has attitude like Gronk too. He has a little more. He has a little more push about him. That's something I like about him. He like Schultz is a soft guy. I mean, you watch Schultz. Schultz looks like a big wide receiver. He does not look like a tight end. Ferguson looks like a tight end, and he plays it perfectly. I think he'll be a top 5, top 6 type of guy in the next couple of years. I think he's that good.
Mm-hmm. And that option is open for him because there's not a lot of elite receivers elite tight ends in the NFL right now.
Yeah, and Travis Kelce is about to retire and run off on like concert tours. So,
yeah.
So it's just, hey, it could happen, right? I don't know. Might be sooner than ever. But then again, all the injuries in the AFC, Mahomes is going to get to waltz probably into the Super Bowl. There's like no one left. All the quarterbacks are gone.
Yeah. I see we got a lot of people saying they think we're gonna see Shaq Leonard play this week. Again, if we do, you're only going to see him on 1st down. If he's out there, I wouldn't be shocked to see Dallas call some audibles and try to get him in a position to see how that knee and foot is doing and if he knows enough about the playbook to know what spots to cover. Yeah, you can't just put a guy on the field and hope he can know his keys and stuff like that. It's a very mental game, and he's only been there 3 days.
Yeah, it's not much. And you got to think about it. They only start Wednesday. I mean, walkthroughs are Wednesday. So what's he really had the opportunity to read a few things?
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. It's not like they got him from Washington or New York where he's played the Cowboys before.
Right.
You can put together a rough scouting report for a guy who's played against us for the past 3 years. A guy like this coming from another conference, not knowing anything about what we do and how we play, you can't put him on the field like that and hope he can perform well.
Right.
I'll be shocked if he's active. I don't think he'll be active.
Yeah, 100%. All right. So let's keep the show moving with other key matchups. We'll go back to another key matchup based off of last week's game. We've been talking about this a little bit. and I had the name right there, and all I had to do was just click on the screen and it would have popped up. So another key matchup, you got our now top two receivers, Brandon Cooks and CeeDee Lamb, versus Darius Slay and James Bradbury out wide. Dak's been cooking lately. CeeDee Lamb's been cooking lately. They didn't step up to the plate last time we played them. They didn't look good last week. How do you guys think they fare against us this time?
Go ahead, Tyson. You go ahead.
I think we score plenty of points. It's really up to our defense. I think we score at least 34 points. I don't see them stopping us a whole lot. It's going to be a similar game to the last game. It's going to be a high-scoring game on both sides, most likely. I think we win. I really do. I called this from the beginning of the season. I said Eagles win at home, we win at home. That's what I thought was going to happen from the get-go. I still consider that. We win. I think we win by 7 to 10 points. I think that's what I think is going to happen, and we're going to score a lot of points, somewhere in the 30s, maybe into the 40s. It's very possible. We might do like San Francisco and get like 42 on them. They don't match up well with our defense, but of course, or vice versa on both sides. I don't think our defense matches up very good with their offense either. So it kind of goes both ways.
Mm-hmm. Amanda, any other thoughts?
So CeeDee had 191 yards and 12 catches, right? Didn't he have that? Is that what he had against the Eagles? Is that game? Am I right? 191 yards. Okay. I think we're going to integrate a lot. I think we're going to do a lot. How do I put this? Okay. I expect to see Turpin actually get up there in yardage. I think we're going to use him as like a little sneaky guy with the speed on the outside. And I think we're going to play a lot of distraction. I expect CeeDee Lamb and Brandon to get CeeDee 150 yards, Brandon Cooks, 100. But I just have a feeling that we're going to also use them as decoys a lot. Because if you can get that, the one thing about Philly's defense is they're easily confused. And I noticed it a lot last week against San Francisco. Mm-hmm. They got confused a lot. And if Mike, okay, so Dan probably, I'm sure, went back and watched because we needed to watch those two teams anyway, because that's our competition. You look at the NFC, that's the two teams that we really need to be concerned with. I mean, the Lions are playing well, but we really need to look. The top teams in the league in the NFC right now are the Cowboys, the Niners, and I guess the Eagles. I think that their record is better than the team that they really are. I think they've gotten lucky a ton. But I think we need to run a lot of confusing stuff, like a lot of motion in the backfield seems to confuse their line even. They're a power team. They're really strong in the front, but their secondary is not that strong. So that's my expectation. I expect to see a lot more Ferguson out of the slot. And I don't want to run a screen, but I do like the what is it? It's not the flea flicker, but a little bit of motion in the backfield that leads out to the long ball. I can't think of what it's officially called. Marcus, you probably know what it is. I don't know all the technical terms.
Could you say what you just said again? I'm sorry. I just got a message.
Oh, a little motion in the backfield that's kind of just to confuse your safeties, and they come up, and then you have someone sneaky like get behind them like your Turpin. We ran it week 5. It's when Turpin found the end zone against the Niners.
So I don't remember. Like a shuffle pass?
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm expecting is just a little bit of motion in the back to confuse their players and see where we go. Now, if the line holds, I expect us to torch their secondary. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a real physical game. And honestly, I don't even know. I actually expect some injuries in this game too. I see some injuries. I don't want injuries, but I do expect to see people get injured. And it's the jet sweep, similar to that, but they also throw it. And then there's the one, what was it? The Philly special where Nick Foles would get, someone would throw the ball to Nick Foles. Wilson used to throw it to Dak. I'd like to see a little bit of difference in our play calling, because when you confuse the Philly defense, they're not very good. And that's what I kept seeing last week with the Debo. A lot of the moves that they would do, you'd see Purdy move a lot in the backfield, and then Debo would sneak up behind they'd sneak up behind their linebackers, and he was finding a lot of success that way. So that's just my opinion. I don't expect it to be a crazy game, but I think Turpin's going to get a lot more than we expect. That's my bold prediction. I don't know why.
All right. I see we got a lot of great comments. I've been putting them up as we talk. It's going to be really aggressive this game. Hopefully not too many penalties. And Jeff saying I want to see some read option this game too. Okay, let's keep the show moving along. Got one more key matchup I want to talk about, and we got to touch base on this one just based off of last week's performance. We got to hand it to us a little bit from that Seahawks wide receiver group, and we're getting this receiver group again. I believe the last time we played them, A.J. Brown was coming out 3 consecutive 125-yard games or something ridiculous like that, and we held him to like 50 yards. And Devontae Smith, I think he did catch a touchdown, but I think for the most part we held him in check. But going off last week's game, we got to talk about this matchup again. So, ask you guys on the panel. Tyson, we'll start with you. Do you think we see more of what we got from the last time we played the Eagles, or do you think we see more of what we saw last week against the Seahawks?
As long as they put Gilmore and Brown, I don't want Bland on Brown. I think it's a bad matchup. Brown's very physical. I think Bland has issues with physical receivers. We need to get Gilmore and Brown and have Bland on Smith. I think that's their matchup. If they do that, I think we'll be fine. If they don't, if they let Bland cover Brown, I think we got problems.
Oh, 100% agree. Amanda, anything you want to add to that?
Tyson, that's what me and Marcus agreed on last time, was that's the way it was. And when we saw Deron Bland get moved over to Lockett, we really saw the success. And honestly, it wasn't even we had made those adjustments. And I think that with Seattle, we just don't play them enough to, it was like an experiment kind of. We didn't know what we were going to get because Deron had been having such a stellar year. We didn't really, and like Jeff said, it was an anomaly. It was completely, I don't expect to see that again. We really played exceptionally well against the Philly, against their wideouts. And Goddard is not active, and that's taking away a very key element to their game. With him out still, that takes away that. I mean, AJ will work in the slot and Devontae will work in the slot, but Goddard was their main slot guy. He was their quick dump it to, when the pressure was getting to Jalen, because Jalen still hasn't been running a lot. He will still run, but he's been protecting the knee. And that's, you kind of have to. Jalen still got the leg. It's still an option for him, but I've noticed a lot of the play calling has leaned in away from that. I don't remember the new tight end's name, Stoll or Steele. Is it something along those lines? I think something. I don't remember the new tight end's name, but I think that we're going to be fine when it comes to the secondary. I'm not too worried about Deron Bland. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if he got another interception, or even Gilmore got an interception. Yeah. And Lewis, I know we've complained a lot about him the past few weeks, but he's been playing a lot better. Like, he played better last week than he did the week before. So maybe he's been listening to people, because he has stepped up a little bit. So yeah.
And Stephen Franco, thank you for joining us tonight. Hope you continue to join us every Wednesday, 8:30 Central Standard Time. And before you go, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, so you'll be updated on future Fifth Quarter podcast episodes. Delvin Snelling's coming in. Thank you for joining. Looks like a new name. I'm assuming you said you'd like to see Deuce Vaughn run the ball more. Don't hold your breath on that one. I'm still shocked he's on the roster, honestly.
But, you know why he's on the roster. We all know why he's on the roster.
And I'll say what I said during the draft. I love Deuce Vaughn as a player. One of my favorite college players before he got drafted by Dallas. Great story. If you look at the way the NFL is, outside of New Orleans and Denver with Sean Payton, nobody's going to touch him as a running back. You cut him. If you cut him, a team has to put him on their roster to be on their team. Nobody's going to sign him to their roster, in my opinion. Once he clears waivers, then it's up to Deuce Vaughn to choose what team's practice squad he wants to go to. So there's no way you can convince me he's going to go to any team's practice squad except for the team his dad is a staff member at. He lives with his parents still. I talked to his parents when I went to the last game. Me and my guy Jeff. He still lives at home. He rides to the stadium with his dad sometimes for practices. If he clears waivers, He signed into our practice squad, no question. So it was a great story. He can hang around. Let's cut him. Let's use that spot for somebody else, and we're still going to have access to him. Now, if I'm wrong and Denver decides to pick him up, then so be it. He probably won't be there long anyway, but I definitely say we could give that spot to somebody else, Anthony Barr or anybody else you're looking at to help us on the
Yeah,
defensive line.
Deuce is just too small, and they did try it a few times. And I mean, we've seen smaller players have success, but Deuce is like itty bitty. If you get out there, I think I'm taller than Deuce Vaughn. So,
Yeah.
and that's not saying much because I am not that tall. I think I'm 5'6". So yeah, Deuce is not a big guy. And in the way the NFL works now, that is big players. We're big, fast, strong, stocky defense players. He really doesn't have he had success in college because it's not built like the NFL. I mean, it's people wanting to make the NFL. This is the best of the best in the NFL. So he's not going to have the same ability that he had in Kansas.
Yeah. Somebody's Alex Stone Shoput saying Deuce is Darren Sproles 2.0. We need him. Darren Sproles squatted like 600 pounds. Deuce may be the same size, but he's not Darren Sproles. And even if he is, Darren Sproles was a career 400 yard guy rushing. I mean, maybe you can get that from Deuce, but let's give him a couple years. Let's put him on the practice squad.
I mean, Darren Sproles, you can look where the difference is. They're same height, but you look at Darren Sproles' legs. His legs were freaking big tree trunks. That's not Vaughn. Vaughn don't have the big tree trunks like that, like Sproles did.
Yeah, maybe if he can develop into a punt returner like Darren Sproles, he could be more useful. But he doesn't do returns.
Yeah, we tried that when Turpin was hurt. So
yeah, and I just gave my little spiel about that, Alex. He's not leaving. He's family. His family lives here. They're not going anywhere. He won't be going anywhere if he's cut. So Chris Wormsley asked a question since we're talking about Deuce Vaughn. What do y'all think about the run game? I've given my opinion on the show a couple of times about the run game. I put it in some comments on the DC4L network. Tyson, what do you think about the Cowboys run game so far this year?
I mean, it is what it is. I wasn't expecting a whole lot from it this year because I know how Mike McCarthy is as an offensive coordinator. He does not run the ball that much, even though I think he runs it a little more smartly than what we had in the past few years, but he don't run it a lot. He never did. He didn't with the Saints. He didn't with Green Bay. He just haven't done it. But he likes smaller backs. That's one of the reasons I think why Zeke is gone. He don't like those big burly backs. He likes a smaller back that can scatter around and do things like whatever. So we're getting what he gets out of running backs. You can go look at his whole career that's as a head coach or even as an offensive coordinator. This is what he does. So I mean, we're getting what he wants to do.
I think that our run game, I know it's not, flashy. And I know a lot of people, you look back to 2016 and we relied on the run. I mean, a lot of people even said that's the only reason Dak had success in 2016 is because of the run. And I won't say that that's not true. Zeke was impressive. I mean, it took him fifth, right? Fifth? He was fifth overall? Fourth. But now, it's really the NFL shifted away from that. We talked about it earlier. The NFL has shifted away from, the big bell cow running the ball. Our passing game opens up the running lanes. Our strength is our receiving core, which is a far cry from what it was last year because that was our biggest downfall was our receiving core last year. So I think it's okay. It's never going to be what people are wanting. Like we're never going to get 100 yards a game. And if we do, it's because one big chunk play. Marcus has mentioned it. I've said it before. Tyson said it in the chat. It is what it is. We have what we have. I don't even know if I expect Tony Pollard to be here next year. I think, we franchise tagged him. I think we could probably find someone in the draft that can replicate what he's doing with Rico as maybe even take over as your Bell, as your number one. That is not where our bread and butter is. So I think we have what we have, and that's all we're going to get. I don't think, and the only reason we see a lot of running right, is like when we go up really big, like we have when we have the blowout games. That's when we really see this team run the ball more, and so that's just not our thing. So I think that Chris, as you were asking, that's my opinion. I don't see any really need to run the ball more. That's not the strength of this team offensively. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I put a couple statistics up earlier in the week. I mean, you look at the league right now, most and I would say pre 2015, your number one running back would have 9 or 10 100-yard games. The NFL leader right now only has 4. So I mean, it's a different game right now. Nobody's getting 20 plus carries a game weekly. Nobody's getting 100 yards consistently. I mean, Pollard's not an elite back. And I know we want him to be, but he's an above average back, which is about all you can expect for any NFL player, that he be above average at his position. And in my opinion, he's done that. So I think we just need to temper expectations a little bit about what to expect from Tony Pollard. And Stephen White saying we need to be able to run. Just like Tyson just said, McCarthy doesn't like to run a lot. I mean, somebody brought up Eddie Lacy in the comments. That's a great point. But you also look at McCarthy was the same guy who converted a wide receiver to running back as well. So the guy may have McCarthy and Lacy may have been an anomaly, but if you go back and look at all the other running backs that he's ever had, they all fit the Tony Pollard role, mold or smaller. All right, so we're gonna keep the show moving. We're at an hour 21 minutes. Looking at the games, and I go through my key matchups. I kind of want to talk about some people who I don't see a particular matchup with them, but I think there's an opportunity for them to be an X factor in the game. So I just wanted to touch base on 2 X factors really quick, and then we'll go to our over unders. So guys, if you're still with us, we do have one more giveaway, and we're gonna do that at the end of the show. So keep those questions coming, keep those comments rolling in. We're gonna go to the last segment of the show, which is called Over Under, where we're gonna get you guys input on some statistics in the game. Before we do that, I just want to touch base on these 2 guys that I think have a chance to be X factors. The first one, we're gonna start with the Eagles, and we talk about the big receivers, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown. But I want to talk about this third guy, Quez Watkins, super speedy guy of the Southern Mississippi. He's been hurt pretty much the entire year. Last week was his first fully healthy game back. He's coming this week. He's going to give them a third receiver element, take the top off the defense type guy. They've been using Devontae Smith like this a lot, but they really want to use Quez Watkins that way. And of course, Jordan Lewis had a good game last week, but this is the guy Jordan Lewis is going to cover. I don't think Jordan Lewis can keep up with him. So watch out for this guy to make a big play at some point in the game. Then we go to the defensive side of the ball with the Cowboys, and I got to talk about Donovan Wilson. We just brought it up again. This can be an X factor, good or bad. On the good side, when he's playing at the line of scrimmage, he makes big plays. He makes big tackles. This is me wishful thinking. Hopefully we see him spy the quarterback a little bit like he's done in years past, where he can maybe come down and make a big hit on Hurts and kind of make him think twice about leaving the pocket again. On the bad side, we could see him lined up on receivers and tight ends and give up some big plays like he's been doing. So I just wanted to put these 2 guys out there, guys that don't have a specific matchup, but I think that their play can be an X factor in this week's game. So we're going to move forward to the last segment of the show, and that is over under, where I'll give you guys some statistics and you guys let me know what you think that player will do and how they'll perform.
Over under.
All right, so before we left talking about key matchups, we had a long talk about Tony Pollard. So Tony Pollard and also DeAndre Smith are the running backs. Both kind of similar height, weight, speed guys, 6 foot, 208 to 212, 4 guys. Over under 50 yards rushing for either running back. And if you say over, let me know which guy you think it is. Just like Ryan at DC Downer just did. He says over for Smith. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. We'll start with the panel first. Amanda, over under 50 yards rushing. And if so, which running back?
I don't want to say it because I don't like Swift. It's definitely will be Swift. He got over 50, I think, last time on us too. And it's nothing like against our defense, but they really lean into the run. And I expect, and I don't think it's going to be big chunk plays all at once. I want to make that clear. I just think that over the course of the game, he'll get 3-5 yards here and there. So that's my expectation. Swift will go over. Pollard, I won't say it. I'm not allowed to because Marcus says it's a cop out.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say 49.5 yards. right there in the middle, 49.5. Unless Pollard maybe receiving will get more than that. That's, he has those up like in the Chargers game. He had that big run, but he's lost his speed too. So I don't think Pollard will get over 50, but I do expect Swift to.
Okay. Tyson, what do you think?
I actually think both of them go over, but not by a lot. I think Pollard just a little bit over. Swift's going to probably outrush him, but not by a lot either. He'll probably get like 65, 70 yards, something like that. But it's not going to be a great. It's going to be a passing show. I would say probably, if anything, I think Hurts is going to get more rushing yards than Swift will. To be honest with you, that's more what I'm worried about in the running game than Swift.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you, Tyson. I think Swift is going to have more opportunities just because they're playing on somebody else's field. Our 12th man has finally started to be productive. So the best way to kind of silence a crowd is to keep the ball on the ground. And also on top of that, you don't have to make check with me's and call audibles with your receivers when you're running the ball if it's loud. So that's going to give you an opportunity to get some easier plays to get positive yardage. So I think Swift is definitely going to go over.
I just wanted to say, did you see how much someone showed me, did you see how much it costs to sit row 1 right behind the Cowboys this week? So it will be loud. Did you see how much that ticket's selling for?
No, how much?
$83,000.
Wow.
To sit behind the Cowboys, row 1, right behind the Cowboys bench. One of our admins showed it to us. I was in shock. So people are paying big money to be at this game, and it is going to be extremely loud. And time of possession is going to make a big deal. That's how Philly's going to win this game is time of possession. So they've got to run. Right. That's going to be that's going to be the way to really silence the crowd is to run the ball, like you said. So that's my expectation is Swift will go over too. So
yeah. And great stat. Thank you, Hector. I think someone else pointed out it was you also. Last time we played, Pollard had 51, Swift had 43. So they were both right around that 50-yard range. And that's kind of the reason I put my over-unders at 50. Steve Franco saying Dez and Deshaun have a 10K bet on the game alone.
Yeah, I broke that on the DC for L page. I saw that and broke it. I'm in Dez's Discord group. I saw that they're talking about it there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just bizarre to me. But usually Dez wins when he makes the bet. So that's all. He's got a really good record on that. So
he does.
He doesn't bet on games that he doesn't think that we're going to win. He's really good at it.
All right. So we talked about this earlier in the show with Terrence Steele. We brought up a little bit in some other key matchups. Last time their defensive ends got the better of our tackles, particularly Terrence Steele. So over under 1.5 sacks for the Eagles pass rushers. Let me know what you think in the comments. Over under 1.5 sacks.
Do you see Jeff's comment?
Yeah.
Jeff, that's funny.
Dez is charging $80 a pop for photo ops at his pregame.
He's also charging $250 a signature at his little events. So, or it was last year. I haven't looked this year, but it's like $250 a signature.
I think it's lower than that now because we did check it out when we were in Dallas.
Okay, so he brought it down.
Yeah, I'm not paying that.
Well, it's ridiculous. You can get the whole item less than that in most of the memorabilia groups. So
yep.
Y'all don't be fooled when y'all see crazy prices. If you need a memorabilia price check, y'all reach out, okay? So Just a little note.
All right, so I see the comments are everybody's going over 1.5 sacks. They don't have faith in Terrence Steele making a step forward and slowing down Hassan Reddick. What do you guys think in the panel, Tyson, Amanda? Think it's over?
I think they get 4 sacks.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I think, and honestly, I'm more worried about Jalen Carter when it comes to sacks because I think we're going to overcorrect to help Steele. When you look back at what happened last game, I'm afraid we're going to overcorrect on that side and get a little manhandled up the middle. I'm just a little concerned there. So I think it's over too. I expect 3 to 4 sacks this game. I think we just got to hope that Dak pulls some of the magician stuff he did last week against Seattle. That was some crazy stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, he pulled some magician stuff against the Eagles too, even though they still end up with 4 or 5 sacks.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep the show going. We're at 1:30, but we're gonna get you guys out here by 1:40. Thank you guys who've been rocking with us all night. The views have been steadily going up, or they've been consistently in the same spot. And the comments have just been going nonstop. So we definitely appreciate all you guys' support. As you know, you fuel the Fifth Quarter podcast with all that you do. We got a couple of more over-unders, and then we'll get to this giveaway. So the next over-under, we've been talking about the wide receivers on the Eagles side as a key matchup, as well as the Cowboys side. So let's go to both of the star receivers on both teams. We'll start off first with our wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb. Over under 100 yards receiving for CeeDee Lamb this week.
Easy
Amanda
money.
says easy 100.
Easy money. I would be shocked if I mean, I don't even know how that wouldn't be possible. It's been so long now. When's the last time CeeDee hadn't had a 100-yard game? I mean, I want to say he's had one consistently since we've really picked up the offense, hasn't he?
He had one game that was under 100. Maybe it was
like at 90.
No, he had a very low scoring game. Shoot.
What game was it? I thought it was early.
Was it Washington?
Was it Washington? It could have been on. Was it Thanksgiving?
I think Cooks was the leading receiver in Washington game, but I mean he still had a touchdown, so it's not like it was a bad game.
Yeah, Lamb's going over easy.
Yeah.
With that secondary, I can't see Lamb not getting 100. I really don't. I would be shocked if he's not. As long as Dak is throwing the rock, he's going to get over 100.
Timothy Attele going with a bold prediction of 200.
So I almost said that earlier. I almost said this. CeeDee hadn't had a 200-yard game yet in his career. I mean, maybe.
Yeah. And looks like everybody's in agreement that he goes over 100. So we're gonna go to the other side of the field with AJ Brown. We broke his 125-yard receiving streak last time we played him. And I'm sure he was looking at DK Metcalf's performance and thinking, I think I can reproduce that. So 125 yards receiving for AJ Brown, over under.
Do you remember when I was on? In fact, was that our first show or our second show? I think it was our second show, wasn't it, Marcus?
First show was against the Eagles. It was the first
it was our first show. Okay. So I remember that. Everybody told me because I was like, no, it's going to be under. I don't know if you remember, but everyone in the comments was like, no, he's going over. I'm like, no, he's not. I'm telling you, I'm going to do the same stuff again. Under. We're going to hold him to 75 yards or less.
Okay.
Devontae Smith, I'm actually more worried about in this game because he's really come on the last few weeks.
All right. Tyson, what do you think?
I think it'll be close. I think he gets over 100. He might not get to 125, but I think he's over 100 as well.
Okay. So it looks pretty split in the comments. First two people come in with over. A couple of them saying under. B. Neil Christian agreeing with you, Amanda, under 75. Jeff saying Gilmore played him well. Calderon saying maybe 110. So it looks like everybody's being consistently going under. Last over under of the show, and then we'll get you guys out of here. And we're going to take it to our quarterbacks. Had a great duel last time. 250 yards passing, over under. If you say over, which receiver you taking?
Tyson, you go first.
Dak's going to have a bigger game as far as yards passing. Total yards might be a little different story.
Uh-huh.
I think Jalen gets between 250 and 300 passing. Probably going to have another 75 or so rushing. Dak's going to have somewhere in the vicinity of 3 to 350. But that's going to be where it's going to be. I think Dak overthrows them, but total yards may be a different story.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think if we talk total yards, I think Hurts will get there, but I think Dak definitely gets there when it comes to passing yards. And going back to the beginning of the show, Amanda, does the no McCarthy factor concern you at all in terms of Dak's performance? Same question for you as well, Tyson.
I told you my thing is, there is something about Dak Prescott this year. Tyson and I discussed it a lot in the off season. Last year was an anomaly for Dak. We told everyone he was going to play better. I don't even know if me and Tyson expected him to play this well. In fact, by week 5, I even made a post. I'm so sorry, Dak. I even made a post. Is it time to move on? Because we were really, I was really worried up until after that Niners game, especially. But I think that Dak Prescott knows Mike McCarthy's offense well enough now that he will not. In fact, I think he could call his own plays maybe at this point. I'm more worried about time, like important time management situations. That's where I'm more worried because McCarthy has the experience, things that Dak can't do on the field. So no, I'm not worried about Dak's performance off of Mike McCarthy. That doesn't worry me. I do worry about other aspects of Mike not being there, like subs and seeing certain things that Dak can't see from certain perspectives. So I think Dak's going to go first. I didn't answer. I'll say 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. That's my bold prediction on that. So no, I'm not worried about Dak. And Jalen, I'm still not really sure how he's not concussed. I don't know if y'all seen some of the stuff. Like when he came back out after the Niners game, he was not playing right. He looked messed up. Like he even had a wobble to him. I'm not sure how he passed protocol.
Yeah.
So I'm really concerned about us maybe like concussing him further. Like, I don't know. I'm really worried with that situation. I'm kind of worried for Jalen's health. So, yes, Rachel, they said he would be, but I mean, he's having, it's not major surgery, but it's still surgery. So, Dan Quinn said that it would take, what did his exact words at the press conference today? It would take, I don't know, something to keep the Irish man from not being there is his exact words. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I wouldn't be there if I was Mike McCarthy, I don't think, but I'm sure he will be probably.
Yeah, I think he'll be there. I really do believe he'll be there. I'm just worried about maybe the time away and everything could cause some issues, just timing issues or whatever. So we'll see how it goes. But I think I'll be really surprised if McCarthy's not on the sideline come Sunday.
Hector Rosario says Will is hospital bed.
Here, just give him his clipboard and set him up. Put him on the cart, drive him up and down the sideline. Right. It'll be okay. And if it's any team, we really have to look. Mike's been with us 3 years now? 4 years? 4? 2020 was his first year, right? Because that's the year that Tyson broke Dak's leg.
That's the Lamb draft.
Yeah, that's the year that Tyson injured Dak Prescott. If y'all don't know that story, so Tyson came to see me, and he decided that I'll be quick because I want to get y'all out of here. But he decided he wanted to go to a game, and of course it was COVID, so like all the tickets were crazy weird, and he got Hall of Fame level seating, like excellent tickets, like probably 80% off what they were supposed to be. So he went to that game, and then we banned him from ever going again because Dak got hurt. So it's all Tyson's fault that really happened.
Right?
It is so. But yeah, I do. I think we know the Eagles. I think that's something that if it's any team that this had to happen on, this is someone we have enough experience with and Mike has enough experience with that I don't think it'll affect, I'm more worried about the defensive side of the ball handling it because Dan's having to, in practice, be the HC. He's not handling what he would normally do, setting down, showing plans, schemes, ideas. So that's my bigger concern.
All right, guys, we're at 1:39. That's pretty much it for the show. But before we go, we are still going to do this last giveaway. So everyone who has left a comment has been entered into the drawing. As you guys can see, the last winner was Chris Wormsley. So I'm about to hit this button, and we're gonna see who's gonna win the next prize. Amanda, really quick before I hit the button, let the people know what the next prize is gonna be.
So this is a signed Trevon Diggs 8x10 photo. It's him and Micah I think the Thanksgiving game last year. It's a really awesome photo. It's set up perfectly for you to get Micah's signature on it next. So it's Trevon Diggs on an 8x10.
All right, so I'm about to hit the button, and we're gonna see who our winner is. Oh, well, I can't win it, so we'll do it again. Lillian Smith.
Congrats.
All right, Lillian.
Congrats, Lillian.
I think you're a first-time viewer, so if you haven't done so already, make sure you join the DC4L Facebook group, and also make sure you reach out to Amanda Foster so that she can get your contact information and she can send you over your signed 8x10. So got a great game coming up this Sunday. Make sure you guys tune in for the game. I'm sure you will. If you don't have a way to watch the game, make sure you join the DC4L Facebook group, because we do have ways for you to watch the game over there if you're unable to. I know it's a Sunday night game. Everybody doesn't have cable. So they have some great options for you to watch the game. I can't say I'm over the airways, but we'll get you taken care of. And also make sure you join the group. Make sure you join my Facebook group as well, Bluff City Cowboys. Make sure you guys find me on YouTube at Bluff City Cowboys. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, and we will see you guys next week, hopefully, for another Victory Wednesday as we celebrate a win against the Philadelphia Eagles, and we look ahead to next week's matchup. Before we go, Tyson, any last words for the viewers?
Let's just have a good game Sunday and let's win it and go Cowboys.
All right, Tyson, well, definitely appreciate you joining us. Looks like you're about to go into a bar and start the after-hours show. So,
that's where Tyson lives. I'm surprised he's not at Hooters. That's like his favorite place.
Hey, I go for the wings also.
Oh, that's probably not what Tyson goes for.
And the thighs.
Oh, that's the 3 Mile Island wings. That's the main reason I love it. Now the scenery helps too. So, but it's okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Tyson, for joining us tonight. Looking forward to having you back again.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Amanda, before we go, any closing words? Let the people know where they can find you at.
You can find me on the DC4L page. We'd love it if you come and share. We got a big contest up right now. It runs till Friday. You can win a custom wreath right now that was custom made, and it's up for grabs. You just have to tag 3 of your friends in the comments and like a post. It's pinned on the public page. Check us out on Patreon. You get in there, you can come do 20 days of Christmas giveaways, win all sorts of stuff, sign memorabilia. We've got a big flash sale coming up in the Facebook group. And make sure you go and sub and get Marcus to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube at Bluff City Cowboys. But come check us out, and we appreciate y'all coming. So
once again, before we go, thank you guys again for supporting us with your questions, with your comments. You guys fuel the Fifth Quarter podcast. You guys are great viewers. You leave great comments. I always appreciate everything that you do to help us grow this. It's still a new concept, and we see growth every week, which motivates us to keep growing and keep adding new things, adding different giveaways, adding different segments, things of that nature. Make sure you guys join us next week, same time, 8:30 Central Standard Time, for next week's episode of the Fifth Quarter podcast. You're going to get the same quality content that you've been getting for the past month. And once again, thank you to my guest. Appreciate you guys joining me as always. We will see you guys next week. I won't be able to do a pregame show this week, but my schedule clears up a lot more after this week, so we will be doing pregame shows to close out the rest of the year and the rest of the football season. So thank you guys for your support. I always appreciate it. And as always, let's go Cowboys. We'll see you guys next Wednesday.